Hello, hello, hello. I hope you all are hearing me. It's Hank Linderman. It's getting angry again, July 8th, Wednesday. It's 4:30 Eastern, 3:30 Central. I'm the Democratic nominee for Congress here in the 2nd District. And boy, it's already been a really intense day. So many things that I could tell you about that some of them I'm going to have to keep to myself. But, looks like some of you are joining in. I'm glad you're here. Thought I'd give you a nice, pleasant look. That's a look from a neighbor's house here at Falls of Rough, Kentucky. Hi, Nancy. I'm glad you're here. Nancy, do me a favor and share this. Our numbers are just going great. They're going through the proverbial roof. So share this. Barbara's here. I'm glad you're here. Barbara, do me a favor and share this so that we can get our numbers even higher and spread our number further. Hi, everybody. I barely got things together today. It was quite a struggle. Mark Andes is here, and thanks to Mark again for performing yesterday. That was just wonderful, and there's going to be more of that. Mark is going to be on an interview that we're going to do hopefully next week. I've got to get my technology together. Mark, do me a favor and share this with everybody you know. It really makes a big difference. Here's Beth. Beth Mullins is here. Beth, I'm asking everybody when they show up. Roy Fraser, Beth and Roy, go ahead and share this. There's so much to talk about today. I don't even know where to begin, and so many things that have been happening. Chris Vitska is here. Howdy, Chris. Do me a favor, Chris, share this with everybody. We're trying to get our numbers up. You know, on Monday, we had, I want to say, 1,200 people view the video. That's a huge, huge deal. And I've been speaking with some of the counties in the district. You remember, we got 21 counties. And so far, not all of them are sharing it yet, kind of because they don't have people who can help them. So that's one of the ways that we're looking to help people. So if you're a young person in the 2nd District and would like to help make a difference, one of the ways you can do it is going to be to help the local county Democratic parties manage their social media. So, you know, please get in touch with me if you're a young person or if you know a young person in the 2nd District, or whether you're young or old, if you've just got some social media skills, which basically means things like what we're asking you all to do: share this video. I don't see Bill McNichol yet, but Bill is usually on you all to share as much and as much as possible. Beth says, I share always. You got it right. There's Bill. So yes, there's so much to talk about that I'm going to have a hard time keeping it straight. So let me look and see what we got here. So let's start with our numbers. Terrible, terrible news in the United States. I saw a headline that said we've actually hit 60,000 new cases. This, what we're looking at here, is from worldometers.info. And yesterday we hit 55,500 new cases. It looks like we're going to hit 60,000 today. I'm not sure. And notice yesterday we're back up to almost 1,000 deaths. So this thing is not even close to over. Tell your friends, your families, tell everybody, please, to take care of yourselves. Wear your mask, wash your hands, socially distance, do all the things you need to do. Let's look at July 7th in Texas. Texas is still, sad for them, number one with 9,414 new cases. But look at California, just 800 behind. So the top three are, number one is Texas, and then California and Florida. When you combine the populations of Texas and Florida, they're a little bit more than the population of California. And guess what? 2 of those are red states and one of them's a blue state. And it's all about the same. We as a nation are not dealing with this, so we've really got to focus on it. Now, again, I'm going to be blasting through some of this. Let me get my pen. I need to be like Jon Stewart. I've got my notes and stuff. You know, I've got all my materials ready. Well, Barbara, yes, we're going to be talking about the schools. That's one of the things we're going to be dealing with. But I thought I would show you one of my favorite websites called Memorandum. And if you haven't been looking at memorandum.com, I really strongly suggest you do. All it is the hit parade for political stories. It doesn't lean left, it doesn't lean right, it's all about clicks. So when you look at Memorandum, the top story will be the one that's getting the most clicks. Now, this isn't the very top story, but look at this bombshell. Shep Smith, formerly from Fox News, has joined CNBC and is going to be hosting the evening broadcast coming up this fall. That, to me, is a body blow to the likes of Fox. And it's going to be very interesting to see how many folks, Fox is kind of getting hit from both ends, with Shep Smith, who was highly regarded, moves away from the network. And Donald Trump now even seems to be kind of casting shadows and aspersions on them. It's going to be interesting. One of the theories that what Trump is up to right now with his 30 million Twitter followers is that he's arranging for himself to get out of the race, to lose, but then he's got 30 million Twitter followers, and he'll start a new service called Trumper or something and go straight back into media and be as much of a problem to, he's not going to go away even if he loses. I guess unless we can get him having to appear in front of a judge and deciding maybe the best thing to do is leave the country, which I think could happen. Here's another little clip from Memorandum. And like I say, Memorandum updates every 5 minutes, so it's a great source for just keeping track. And after you get used to looking at it, you start to feel the wave of conservative stories followed by the wave of liberal stories, and so on and so on. Well, this one is just really recently. Darren Lowry is here. Hi, Darren. How are you? Darren, please do me a favor and share this broadcast. That'll help us out a whole lot. Look at this story, that Facebook has closed a network of accounts and pages affiliated with Roger Stone for manipulation. That's a big deal. Well, okay. While we're still on political news a little bit, this is the headline from the Cook Political Report, and that's the headline, and I printed up some pages that I'll read some things to, some little quotes for you that I think are significant. It says, this election is looking more like a Democratic tsunami than simply a blue wave. President Trump, mired in some of the lowest job approval ratings of his presidency, is trailing Biden by significant margins. We've made changes to our electoral college ratings to reflect this reality. Hey, Mark Tomorsky is here. Mark, do me a favor, please share. Let's see how high we can get these numbers to go. I'm so glad Mark is here. Mark is either in Las Vegas or California or Michigan or who knows. Darren, I think, is here from Los Angeles. Back to the Cook Political Report. One of the biggest unknowns, of course, is voting. We've been seeing that the states are not prepared. Most of them have not been prepared to deal with absentee ballots. The huge, Kentucky did a great job, it appears. Yes, some people missed their voting, and in fact, Terry Miner sent me a very funny chart yesterday. I'll see if I can call it up. I may not be able to show it to you all, but it was reasons that votes didn't get counted. So once I can find my thread with Terry, he was texting this with me yesterday, and he kind of couldn't believe the reasons that people messed up. Okay, here's one. No voter signature, 3,848. Missed deadline, late, a little bit over 1,100. Non-matching signature, that's interesting. Inner envelope missing. Inner flap not signed. Missing outer envelope. Returned not deliverable. Clerical error, no ballot in inner envelope. Outer envelope is empty. Deceased, that's a good reason not to vote. Declined to vote. Unofficial envelope, no witness signature, ballots only. Damaged, could not count. The inner envelope was glued to the outer envelope, and so on. Well, back to the Cook Report. We were talking about the voting. If voters start to sense that the race for the president is a blowout, will they be more willing to split their tickets to ensure a check and balance? I certainly hope not. I think it's time for us to get as many Democrats in office. And in Kentucky, you can vote just D for Democrat. And I'm just going to say it out loud. Just push the damn D. Let's get this over with. Let's try and get things fixed up. Now, the thing I'm concerned about, by the way, is as we start to believe that this is game over and it's just going to be the way it is, that people will say, well, we got this. I don't need to vote. Any of you that were present in 2016 know better, okay? Donald Trump is not going to leave until he is absolutely forced to leave, okay? We're going to need a chisel and some pliers and a blowtorch and some hammers. He's going to be like the most difficult barnacle to get off the side of the ship of state ever in our history. So let's talk about the schools. And I think, who was that? Was that Beth brought that up? A couple of you reached out to me. Oh, yes, Barbara said something about it. Yeah, so here's the headline. Apparently the CDC had issued a guidance on school openings, and it was too strict. You know, it was things like you had to have the desks 6 feet away from each other. They all had to be faced the same way. They wanted to stagger lunch times. There were a list of things. Well, so Trump pushed back, and now according to Vice President Pence, they're going to change their, just what you need. You know, your scientists to be susceptible to political pressure. No, we don't want that. I mean, we want the scientists to give the report, and then if the politician wants to say, well, what we're going to advise is this, fine. Then it's on the politician. But the CDC is making a mistake, in my opinion. They should follow their initial stance and let the chips fall. So Labor Secretary Eugene Scalia argued that reopening schools was important so that parents can schedule their workdays in a predictable manner. Certainly true. It's tough to work if you've got school-age kids and they're not at school. Very tough. Remember about the contract? Remember the contract for rural and working America? In there is, including education and childcare, is this idea that we need to have national childcare. The same way we do national public school, we need to have national child care, which would help in circumstances like this. It would also help a lot of families that can't afford to pay for child care when they go off to school for their, or go off to work to earn their minimum wage. So, anyway, it's really true. It's not ideal to have kids away from school, and I see the point. Now, the CDC director, Robert Redfield, sought to play down the risks of the virus that has a disproportionate impact on older Americans. Clearly, this is his quote, clearly the ability of the virus to cause significant illness in children is very, 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 four varies, limited. Yes, but can children carry the virus home to their mom and dad or to their grandparents? Anybody know the answer to that one? I'm not sure. Chairman Redfield knows. During the briefing, Vice President Pence, who leads the task force, struggled at times to explain what the president meant by his tweets. You think? Vice President Pence, yeah, it is a little tough to interpret exactly what President Trump means with his tweets. Maybe he spelled correctly, though. 90% of school funding comes from states and localities, and President Trump was threatening, by the way, to withhold federal funding from schools if they didn't open, which again, you know. How many of you want to have your schools forced to be reopened by the federal government saying we're just not going to pay our fair share? Anyway. The dominant message was that the cost of keeping schools closed is greater than allowing them to open. We can't let our kids fall behind academically. I'm going to say there's a equally important consideration that we don't want them to get sick or to get their family members sick, or the school teachers sick, or the administrators, or the school bus drivers. I've got neighbors here on Paradise Acres Road who drive school buses. They're my friends. I don't want them to get sick. So how we're going to do this to be safe, it remains to be seen. All right, well, let's get back to our list of things to talk about. Oh, here's a kind of a fun one. This is from a site, Materials Today Physics, Elsevier. I don't know anything about this website, and I found this through nakedcapitalism.com. They're another great source. But it appears that you can catch and kill airborne SARS-CoV-2 by using a heated air disinfection system. Let's see what the headlines. A heated air disinfection system was fabricated, shows 100% capability for catching and killing the virus. It could be significant, and this is potentially a way forward. Here's some of the text. Um, let's see what it is. It's at 70 degrees centigrade. Now, by the way, let's talk about that. 70 degrees centigrade. That's frickin' hot. Yesterday it was 34 degrees centigrade here at Rough River, 93 degrees. So what we're talking about is you've got to get close to 200 degrees to kill this thing. So this is not a small thing that you're going to have to possibly have built into your air conditioning at your office or on an airplane. They'll have to have a pre-treatment chamber that heats the air to 200 degrees or so, then runs it back into the air conditioner. So I've reached out to my neighbor Brian, who repaired my air conditioning system, to see what he thinks about it. Maybe we'll get a report from him later. Talked about corruption yesterday. There's certainly plenty of corruption. And corruption is the thing that caused me to get really angry. And yesterday I was in a little bit of a foul humor, but talking with you all made it a little bit easier. And here's the headline, and I have a couple of people that are going to chime in if they're online with us. So, Purdue Pharma. Do you all know who Purdue Pharma is? They're the ones who started marketing OxyContin, and they made I'm trying to think of the name of their company. Is it the Sackler family? The name of the company is Purdue, but the family is the Sackler family. And they're apparently pretty liberal. They give lots of money to liberal causes, to the arts and all this kind of stuff. But they made billions of dollars selling OxyContin, and they oversold it as in terms of how safe it was. They oversold it in terms of it not being dangerous. You won't get addicted. You know, it's very important for you to get your pain controlled. And they told doctors, you know, you're kind of an ass if you won't prescribe our drug. Well, it got to the point where Oxy and other painkillers were being prescribed in West Virginia, for example. 1 year there was enough for every man, woman, and child in West Virginia to have 440 doses. Obviously, that's more than they needed, but Purdue and these other companies kept selling it. The salespeople kept selling it because, of course, they would make more money, more commissions. Well, anyway, Purdue Pharma went bankrupt not long ago because several cities had sued them for their role in creating the opioid crisis. I believe New York City was one of them. And I believe the state of Kentucky may have sued. They've sued some opioid makers. I'm not sure if they went after Purdue or not. By going bankrupt, they were able to get all of their litigation stayed, and family members of the over 500,000 victims of the opioid crisis are now just creditors in the bankruptcy. So they've ruined your life. In some cases, your family member might have lost their lives due to overdose, and but they've gone bankrupt. So now you can wait in line. Oh, this is interesting. The Sackler family, including Jonathan Sackler, a co-owner of Purdue, who died Monday. I had no idea about that. I'm going to look into that. Made off with over $10 billion in company funds. So they took $10 billion out before they went bankrupt. And then in December, the Democratic Attorneys General Association accepted $25,000 in donations from the company. Notice I said Democrats. Democratic Attorneys General Association accepted $25,000 in donations from the company. This is according to data collected by Political Moneyline. You got to watch the money. Hope I'm not putting you all to sleep, but you got to watch the money in politics. And one way you can do that is go to opensecrets.org and type in the name of your favorite politicians, and you'll see who's giving them money, your favorite or your not so favorite politicians. Several of the members of that association are leading the litigation against Purdue, and so Purdue contributed to them. That's not good. In January, the Democratic Governors Association, now it's Democratic governors, headed by New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy, accepted $50,000 from Purdue Pharma, as did the Republican Governors Association, headed by Texas Governor Greg Abbott. Notice that Greg Abbott's state is leading us right now in new COVID cases. Donations came as states including New Jersey, California, Delaware, Iowa, Kentucky, Maine, Massachusetts, Montana, Tennessee, and Vermont are considering excise taxes on prescription opioids. So in other words, the idea that the states are doing is to accept, all right, this drug is dangerous and it's costing us money just to keep track of it. We're going to put a tax on it. and make sure that we can keep on top of it, because it's eaten up our bank accounts to be able to watch you all. Purdue is not publicly traded and does not have to disclose risk factors to investors. But just 5 states so far have implemented a tax: New York, Minnesota, Rhode Island, Maine, and Delaware. They've implemented an opioid tax or a fee. And just a little bit more. I hope I'm not putting you all to sleep. This is just incredible, I think. There's a bankruptcy law professor at Georgetown University, Adam Levitin, who calls the donations astonishing. Given the politics of the case, there's something incredibly brazen about this, such that I'm shocked that Purdue didn't seek court approval. That they would give to Democratic AGs but not the GOP attorney generals is really problematic, since the most aggressive ones have been the Democrats. Now, I thought they gave to the Republican AG Association, but maybe not to the individual AGs. Anyway, this is the corruption that we talk about all the time, and this is the Achilles heel, I think, of our political system right now. The reality is, to get elected, you've got to have money. So I'll do my daily beg you all for money here in a moment, but it takes money to run. I mean, I've had to put my life on hold to run for office, and one of the things about politics is nobody wants to hear how tough it is to be a candidate, so I'm not going to dwell on that. But it takes a lot of money to do this. And for example, there's Carl. Carl Wilson, I'm glad you're here. Carl, do me a favor and share this. And Bill McNichol says, take it from the guy who paid someone to take his own SAT to tell us how to go about the education of our nation's youth. Yeah. Anyway, this is the big flaw of our political system, and we have all been guilty, most Americans have been guilty of letting them get away with it. Because as long as things were going okay, they may not have been going perfectly, but as long as things were going okay, we were willing to look the other way and accept a certain level of corruption. But now the corruption is out of control. It's just absolutely out of control. I mean, we heard yesterday that Mitch McConnell's wife's family's company was one of the beneficiaries of the PPP funding and loans. They were one of the top. Someone said Mas Chow Mitch. It was a meme that's going around. Mas Chow because Elaine Chow. It's pretty rough. But the corruption is now pretty bold. It's right out in the open. And there's really only one way forward in this, and that is for as many of us as possible to get involved, to be willing to step up and run for office, to contribute, to get involved with a campaign, to show up and vote, to get your friends to vote. You have to do all of that. Now, the ways you can contribute to me, and I need all the help I can get, you could go to the website at hankforky.com, and there's a QR code there. There's also, you can contribute by ActBlue. If you're writing a really big check, I'd like to ask you a favor, and send it to our address, which is also there. Because ActBlue takes a little percentage. They are nonprofit, so it's not like they're going to take very, very much, but they take a little bit of money so they can do the administration of it. David, I knew I was going to hear from you. Our Governor Andy Beshear's law firm are the attorneys for the Purdue Pharmaceutical. I'm not sure about that, because Andy, up till this past December, was our Attorney General, but now he's our governor, and we have a Attorney General who's a Republican. On the other hand, his name escapes me right at the moment. I've just got too many things in my head. But hopefully that lawsuit continues to go forward. Anyway, this corruption can only be confronted by us, and the idea that I have is that we really need to be down in the dirt, grassroots. That actually came to me from a friend of mine who's a farmer, Larry Swartz. He said to me, Hank, I'm afraid there's only one way we can do this, and that's to get down in the dirt, grassroots. And so that's a lot of what I'm doing. By the way, I got some phone calls to share with you all. I'm not sure I should tell you who has agreed to do an interview with me. If not next week, the week after. First of all, Mark Andes from the legendary band Spirit, JoJo Gunn, legendary bands, Spirit, JoJo Gunn, Heart, Firefall, and Mark played bass on so many great, I think he played on Whitesnake's record. Anyway, Mark is going to do an interview. In the past, Steve Levine, who is my friend who produced Culture Club, he's agreed to do an interview. And in some of these we'll talk politics, and some of them we'll just talk about music. But I also spoke with Keb Mo today, and he says he's very happy to do an interview. So I have to get the technology together, but hopefully we'll have Keb Mo next week or the week after. And I'm going to be interviewing some candidates for office here in Kentucky's 2nd District and maybe outside of that. So we're going to keep moving forward. I'm glad you all are here. Yes, Cameron is our Attorney General. Thank you, Beth. Thank you all so much. This has been a great thing. I have been scrambling to be able to catch up. I was on a phone call with someone, and I had just eaten a sandwich, and it was from one of those Dave's Killer Bread, 21 seeds, and about 11 of them were stuck in my throat, and I started coughing because I was trying to eat and talk, and I said to them, I swear this is more coughing than I've done in the last 6 months. I swear I don't have the COVID. So anyway, I will talk to you all later. You know I love you. I'm glad you're here. We're going to keep doing this. Remember, it's okay to get angry. We use that to fill up the furnace. We use that to build up our resolve to do the right thing so that we can be involved and make a difference in our world. We've got so many things that need to be worked on. I guess another way of thinking about it is we have a lot of opportunities to improve. Rain is here. Rain, do me a favor and share this. That'd be a big help. And I will see you all tomorrow, and thank you so much for being here. And I hope you'll stay strong and take care of yourselves. All righty. Take care.